Hi, parents. So I thought I'd give you a little virtual tour of your kid's classroom. I know that part of getting to know the school, especially this new process, is having like an open house, which we don't really have this year. So I thought that I'd give you some idea of what it looks like in our virtual classroom. And so what you see in front of you is what greets the kids as they enter the classroom every day. This is the welcome screen. Obviously, it's full size so that they see it in their entire screen area. And then I tell them as they enter to make sure that their cameras are on. That's part of the accountability process that Mr. Principal Jones sent out to everyone that explains that in order for us to see them present and engaged, we need to make sure that their cameras are on. So I have them have their cameras on and their mics muted as they enter. Today's agenda is always up on this virtual board for them, along with their homework. And then after that, I usually will go and sort of check in and see if anybody's got any general questions. And then we move into the classroom. So the classroom actually looks like this. And let me pull it over. I've got two screens right now, so let me pull it over so that you can see it. And so this is my first period classroom. And the general classroom, as your kids see it, has chat, it's got some stream stuff going on. And as you can imagine, as the year progresses, this can get pretty complicated. So we're gonna start meeting daily in this area that says class meetings daily. And that's gonna help us separate our class recordings from our regular meetings. At the very top of this classroom, you'll see where it says files, class notebook, assignments, grades, and then it's got some other links here. The main things that your kids are going to be focusing on are the files and the book. So in the files area, they can access our unit calendar, they can access a book, like the PDF of the book, they can access any of our weekly calendars, lesson plans, everything. So the admin section is just where their syllabus and their Glass Castle approval form is. Unit 1 is where they're going to be living for the next few weeks. So this is the first week's lesson plans. Lesson plans are going to be posted a week in advance. So if you've got a student who was like me in high school, I definitely was an anxious kid, and so I wanted to know what was always coming, and having those lesson plans a week in advance can kind of help alleviate some of that anxiety. So this is next week's lesson plans. They're already posted there. Obviously, it's a PDF so that the students can't manipulate it in any way, shape, or form. This is the assignment and reading calendar. And by clicking on this, it's going to take you to a PDF that explains the next basically 2 months of class and what it is that we are doing. So Monday and Tuesday of next week, we have to do county mandated iReady testing. During that time, your students will also be working on their introduction paragraph. That's going to be due Wednesday of that same week. So they have access to all of their assignments and their reading requirements pretty much a month in advance. I will be going through the book and discussing the book with them as well. So some of this reading is going to take place in class, and some of it they're going to be responsible for at home. So going back to the main screen of the classroom, again, the files area is pretty much where they're going to find the majority of the stuff that they need. This up here at the top is a link to the PDF version of the book, and it will download, as you can see on my screen, it's downloading. It will download that for them. If it does this, where it says your site isn't loading correctly, and then it says click here, if you click there, it will take you outside this web browser, which is fine. You can also get to the book pretty easily through any of the documents in Unit 1. There's a link to the Glass Castle on all of those lesson plans, as well as the monthly lesson plans a week in advance. These other ones here, these are just things that we have been using in class, and they're going to actually go away starting Monday of next week. This is the Glass Castle approval link, the syllabus signature sheet, so on and so forth. On the left-hand side over here are what we call channels. So when we do group work, your students will actually click on one of these channels, depending on which group I've assigned them to, and they're going to meet in there. The really cool thing about these channels is that I can actually see their chat boxes, I can see their videos, and I can use that to help formatively assess whether or not they understand the material that they're actually discussing. So this is our classroom area. This is what the virtual classroom looks like. When we are meeting all together, it actually kind of looks like a giant meeting space. Let's see if it lets me. Oh, it won't let me because I'm using the camera right now. It looks like a giant meeting space with a bunch of different boxes with your kids' faces on it. If I could ask you to encourage your students to make sure that I can actually see their face on camera, I'm having some issues with students who are only showing me this or this, which if the goal of the camera is to help me with accountability to make sure that they're understanding by looking at their facial expressions, that's actually not very helpful. So if you could encourage your students to make sure that when they're on camera, they're actually on camera. And there are times when I ask them to turn the camera off. So if I'm recording something for the entire class that could be streamed to other class periods, I actually have them turn the camera off. So it's not the entire time. Also, if they're having issues with their camera, they can get help through the tech hotline. I know everyone's been sort of inundated right now, and it's just a lot to try and do at once. But if we can try and get that done in the next couple of weeks, it would be really helpful to me because, again, it's one of the ways that I understand that your kids are understanding. I am always here for you. If you ever have any questions or you want to chit chat about something, we can do a virtual parent-teacher conference. I have no problem with that. Or email me and ask me any questions. I'm always here. Thank you so much for being supportive. And we really appreciate everything that you guys have done and how quickly you have adjusted. I know this has not been easy for anybody, and it's not ideal for anyone. We never wanted to start school this way, but I do think that this is probably the safest option. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at any time. My email address is actually Kohanim, Kohan, as in Nancy, I-M, as in Mary J, @boltonschools.org.